I can still picture the smirk on her face when I walked through the door that evening, that smug little curve that silently said, "We won." My mother stood by the counter, arms folded, her bracelet softly clinking against the marble. "Welcome back, traveler," she said, her voice thick with sugar-coated satisfaction. "Guess what? Your car finally did something useful." My stomach tightened. My car, I asked, though deep down I already understood what her tone meant. Her grin widened. "We sold it. Got a great deal, too. Your sister's in Santorini right now, living her best life. Thanks to you." Then came her laugh. Cold, triumphant, the kind that slices deeper than you'd ever admit out loud. I smiled back, slow and deliberate. "Really?" I said evenly. "That's wonderful." Her expression faltered. "What's so funny?" I leaned against the doorway, slipping my hands into my pockets. "Because the car you sold wasn't mine." Her smile vanished. "It's strange. The kind of pain that comes when betrayal comes from your own blood. It doesn't burn like heartbreak. It seeps in quietly, like rot. That car wasn't just a pile of metal to me. It was mine, built with my own hands over 3 long years. Every bolt, every upgrade, every cent came from weekends spent in the garage. It was the first thing I'd ever owned outright. My father called it a waste of time. My mother dismissed it as a childish obsession. My sister laughed and said it was cute. I called it freedom, before leaving for my business trip. A deal that could have changed everything. I told them I'd be keeping the car at their house for just a week. Just 1 week. My mistake was trusting them with the keys. The first sign came 2 days into the trip. My sister's Instagram, champagne, ocean views, designer luggage. I knew her debts. She couldn't afford any of that. But her caption read, "Finally, life is good. Thank to family love." My stomach sank. I called home. No answer. I texted, left on read. By the 3rd day, I knew something was wrong. My father, the supposed moral compass of the family, had suddenly restricted my access to the garage's security cameras. When I asked, my mother told me to focus on work. On day 4, the truth arrived. My car's insurance had been canceled. I didn't yell, didn't rage, didn't even raise my voice. I just smiled to myself and whispered, "Perfect," because what they didn't know, couldn't possibly know, was that the car they thought they'd sold wasn't the real one. 3 months earlier, I had already sold the actual car to a collector for triple its market value. The one parked in my parents' garage was just a replica. Identical paint, identical VIN. Same everything, except for what was under the hood. Completely worthless. And inside that decoy sat a GPS tracker, a dash cam with cloud upload, and a title registered solely under my name, with a clause making any unauthorized sale a felony. They had no clue. So when I landed back home and my mother gloated about funding my sister's dream vacation, I already had every card in my hand. 2 hours later, while they were still celebrating, I called a man they'd sold it to, an unsuspecting businessman. I introduced myself, sent him the VIN report, the fake documentation, and proof of the fraudulent sale. Within 30 minutes, he filed a complaint. By the time I'd finished dinner, police were knocking at my parents' front door. The look on my mother's face when she opened it, priceless. The shock, the confusion, the panic in her voice as she tried to explain. But it was our son's car. The officer turned to me. "Sir, you're the legal owner, correct?" I nodded. Yes, and I never gave permission to sell. That night, my sister called from Greece, screaming. Her card were frozen, her trip fund seized, the payment traced, the money from the car locked pending investigation. And my parents, summoned for questioning on charges of financial fraud and identity misrepresentation. I didn't have to lift another finger. The law handled everything for me. 6 months have passed now. The once loud house feels empty. My sister's back home, bitter, broke, and grounded. My parents live on reduced pensions, the rest of their assets tangled up in restitution. Sometimes I stop by just to remind myself how fragile trust really is and how easily I rebuilt myself from the ruins they left behind. They still don't know it was planned, every bit of it, long before they ever betrayed me. The truth is, I stopped being their obedient son tonight. I overheard my mother whisper to my sister, "He'll always come back. He's weak for us." That's when I decided I never would. So when she sneered that day, saying, "Thanks to your car, our daughter's living her best life," I wasn't angry. I was amused, because I already knew how the story ended. And when she demanded, "What's so funny?" I smiled and said, "Because the car you sold was already gone." Her lips trembled. "What do you mean?" I stepped closer, my voice steady. "You didn't sell my car. You sold your own freedom." She didn't laugh after that.